everyone. My name is Tara Reed, and I'm the CEO of Kollecto. Kollecto is a startup that helps everyday people become art collectors, and we do this through our app and an algorithm that finds cool art for you based on your taste. What's interesting about all of this is that I am a non-technical founder. There are no developers on my team, and we've built our web app, our algorithm, and our lean startup without writing a single line of code. The way I built my business is an interesting testament to the changing ecosystem of people and types of people who can now build software. So today, I'm going to share my 3 pieces of advice for non-technical founders who are interested in bringing their app ideas to market without writing code. But before I do that, I want to share some of my personal story on why I personally chose to build my company this way. So, cost. Building without code allowed me to operate a really low-cost business to start. So for our first 6 months, we spent under $600 a month on operational costs because we used cheap tools as an alternative to code. Technical debt. Building without code allowed us to avoid a lot of the technical debt we would have faced building features that our users may or may not have actually wanted. A friend of mine who is a developer and does write code says hell is building fancy stuff that nobody uses. And managing devs. As a non-technical founder of an early stage project, I had a unique dilemma. It was really expensive to hire top-notch developers, and managing so-so developers was really hard. I mean, I had no idea whether these people were doing a great job or a terrible job, and so for me, building without code was the solution. I'm pretty sure there are some elements of building without code that will be helpful for you and your own businesses, and so today I'm sharing my advice for non-technical folks on building MVPs without code. So, my first piece of advice is to use logic-based software that already exists. You already know a lot of these tools. Surveys, for example, let you show and hide different information based on who your user is. Spreadsheets allow you to apply additional logic, if this, then that. You can actually run the back end of your app just by connecting different Google spreadsheets. And email marketing tools, if this, send that. Here's an example of the very first version of an MVP we built for Kollecto. We used survey logic to show and hide different pieces of artwork for different users based on information we had about their taste. Which brings me to my second piece of advice. Once you find the tools you need, you have to find a way to get them all to speak to each other. So the first version of that MVP I showed you heavily relied on a tool called Zapier, which allows you to connect different software tools together. So every time a user signed up or did a new action, we would send that data over to a spreadsheet, and every time data changed in the spreadsheet, we would trigger a new action to happen in our app user experience. Which brings me to my third piece of advice. Build something imperfect. After all, if you're not embarrassed of the first version of your product, then you've launched too late. A lot of times, when I talk about building without code, people ask me about scalability. For us, building this way has worked pretty well. We used this MVP to generate our first $30,000 in revenue. We got invited to 500 startups, Accelerator, and Mountain View, and we raised a modest seed round, all with our MVP that had no code involved. But we did reach a point where we had to update our technology stack, and we again did that without writing any code. We transitioned to a tool called Bubble. There are more and more of these tools that I see every day. Bubble allows you to apply robust if this, then that logic as opposed to writing code. And we use this to build our art matchmaking algorithm and to set ourselves up for a little more scalability. A friend of mine who also builds apps this way thinks that by 2020, most programmers won't be engineers. They'll be doctors, teachers, farmers, and executives. And I think he's right. This talk is about building without code, but above all, it's about rolling up your sleeves and finding a way to launch no matter what. It's about not letting your inability to code act as a handicap. It's about realizing that above all, successful people find a way to launch before they're ready. Thank you.